Welcome to Chat, Grapple and Cheap Pops with me, JB, and Chris Dredd.
Yes, yes. How's it going, people? Hope everyone is all right.
We are back with episode 8, which will be Halloween Havoc, Chamber of Horrors 1991, WCW flying relatively mid level at the time. They weren't flying high, but we have decided to take a couple of minutes before we get to the show just to mention a couple of things. It is Wednesday, the 24th of June, and me and Chris have a couple of things to say. I'm going to start because it needs to be said, and we both agreed that we had to do it. We've been absolutely appalled by what we've seen online over the last week, and it's pretty obvious that it's out there. Everyone knows what's going on. We wish, or I wish anyway, that we could have said, oh, it was just a few bad apples. But I'm going to go ahead and say it, but, with maintaining the apple analogy, British wrestling is rotten. Absolutely rotten. We were going to cover a British wrestling show coming up. We've cancelled that. Not a chance with the way it's going on at the minute.
It's funny as well, because the British wrestling event that we were going to cover is literally littered with
Yeah.
individuals that have been either spoken about, or the venue has even been mentioned a few times.
Yeah.
This is the speaking out, hashtag speaking out movement that we're talking about. And it has been in America, but there has been a phenomenal amount of information coming out about British wrestlers. It's phenomenal. I'll let JB carry on, but I've got a few things to say about this as
Yeah.
well.
Thank you. Um, yeah, I just, like I said, we were going to cover a show. That's definitely not happening. I'm not, and we're not going to use, however small this platform is, to shine a light on anyone accused of wrongdoing, anyone. And that's just the way it's going to be. We really, truly commend anyone that was brave enough to come forward and tell their stories. They came out with such amazing courage to tell some of these stories about some of these awful acts. And you know, I'm going to say this. We believe you. We're here for you. Our lines of communication, which are Twitter, not Facebook yet.
We
Sorry,
will
Twitter.
we will have a Facebook group, and then we could probably do watch parties of our episodes and stuff like that. So yeah, there will be a Facebook available soon.
Our Twitter, our YouTube, our
Yep,
Instagram,
yep.
those lines of communication are open. Anyone wants to talk with us or anything like that, or just chat, or if they have anything to say, feel free. And, you know, hopefully this is some sort of, movement for change. It has to change. It cannot, it cannot get any worse than this. And that's me. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I've got a bit more of a. You're a bit more calmer than I, Jordan, when it comes to certain things. I'm a bit more hyped about it, but I'm pissed
Yeah,
off, to be honest with you. Um, I mean, last week I think we even mentioned British wrestling in our last episode, was it, or the one before? It actually
we mentioned it.
it was the last episode when we were talking about Lord Alfred Hayes, and I went and said, look, British wrestling is brilliant. Um, the amount of talent that comes out of this country, yada yada yada, and then fucking lo and behold, within a week we've got hashtag speaking out, and we have got, I spoke about the holiday camps. I spoke about that kind of British wrestling, how the roots of British wrestling, and it is, as Jordan said, it is fucking rotten to the core. Um, if you haven't already heard how myself and Jordan met through wrestling training in the UK. We trained for nearly 2 years, a year and a half or whatever. We realised that we really didn't have the time, the money, or even the get up
Even
and go,
even the connections,
even
yeah.
the connections, you know, because we knew, you know, we had a small circle of people in the UK wrestling industry that we trained with, went seminars with, went and trained in their rings, etc., etc. And we have even been acquaintances with people that have been mentioned as victims and possible abusers. So we are fucking all up in the air. You know, we stand with anybody who's coming out and saying anything until it can be disproven to be false. I'm sick to death as well. I'm seeing people, predominant people in the UK scene, coming out and condemning people speaking out about this. And that is one thing that has really got on my tits now as well. Because do not come out and say these keyboard warriors, these people coming out and saying this and tarnishing these people and blah blah blah. First of all, shut your mouth. You know what I mean? Shut your bumper clerk mouth, because we're not having it. Okay, we're not having it. If things can be proven that they're false, then fine, brilliant. Okay, that's great. But you know, to come out and just to say, oh, people need to stop doing this and coming out and saying this. No, people need to keep coming forward, okay? And
That's right.
saying that things.
These people will no longer be silent.
They will no longer be silent. And the fact is, the British wrestling industry has been literally run by these people. Literally run by these people. When people get into wrestling, they don't get into wrestling at our age, Jordan. They don't get into wrestling when you're 30 plus. When people get into wrestling, they're children, okay? Whether it's young boys or young girls, they're coming in at the age of 14, 15, and they're coming into training and they want to be safe. Everyone deserves a safe space to learn this craft, because wrestling, it can be a beautiful thing. I've met some fantastic people through wrestling. I'm looking at one of them right now, one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet, my brother JB. And you know, I've met countless fucking lovely people in this industry, and there will be friends in grappling for life and friends in life for life. But there's also some fucking wrong uns out there, and it has to be spoken about. People keep coming forward. Myself and Jordan, we are on Twitter, you know, and like I say, we have already reached out to someone who it's quite a predominant case as well, let's just say, in the UK. We've reached out to someone that we know, that we're acquainted with, and sent them our wishes, and we hope that they get back to us. We hope they're doing okay, because all of this stuff being dredged up again after X amount of time isn't good for anybody's mental health. So yeah, we have reached out to them, and we reach out to anybody out there in computer land, in internet land. You know, we're not these high whizzes in the wrestling business. We just know a few people. We trained. We met people. We made friends. We hurt ourselves, but we had a fucking good time. And then we got on with life, you know. But we've still had one ear and one eye open. But we never even dreamt that it would be to the level it is. We obviously know that there was a few creepy bastards. Obviously, we know that are people that are a bit creepy. And Jordan and myself, actually, without any knowledge of anything that had gone on, we actually called out a couple of people and said, "Yeah, fucking hell, we should have fucking known, man. We should have known."
Yeah.
But because because we're not females as well, you know, we're not, you know, we just wouldn't have these things necessarily happen to us. So we're just sorry we had to mention that. We had to bring it up. Hashtag speaking out. We're not going to mention any names. We're not going to mention any accusers. We're not going to mention any victims. But there are fucking enough out there. There are enough out there. Go on Twitter. Go on YouTube. Type in hashtag speaking out, and you will find out anything you want to know. And yeah, let's get rid of this. We're talking about fucking coronavirus. This is a virus. And it needs to be rid from the wrestling world, from the UK wrestling world and the US wrestling world. It needs to be gone.
Well said.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm vexed,
good.
man.
We needed to get that out.
This ain't no alcohol in this cup. It's just blueberry juice. So before anyone says he's on the tipple, I know it's in the classic Costco red cup. But yeah.
And with that, we're going to change our attentions completely because we're in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
We're in Chattanooga, Tennessee, 27th of October,
That's
1991.
right. We are in Chattanooga. It's, for me, 2 hours and 48 minutes of Halloween Havoc.
How many, mate? 2 hours and what?
2 hours and 48 minutes.
Well, as usual, I watching the Chamber of Horrors WCW Turner Home Entertainment VHS.
Oh.
And this was 110 minutes approximately.
We've been here before, haven't we?
Fuck you, Edward. Why? And let's see as well, because this tape, okay, this was one of the. This is 1991. This is early days, okay. I was 9 years old, right, when this came out. I was watching WCW on the afternoons. This was one of the first 4 videotapes that would be released in the UK. So we had Chamber of Horrors, Halloween Havoc, we had Future Shock, we had Capital Combat, and we had Collision Course. Okay, so there were 4. See, I did there. There's 4.
Very good. 4 Horsemen, baby.
4 Horsemen, baby. So there was 4 VHS that was initially released in the UK, and this was one of them. This was the first. One of the first tapes that you could buy as a kid or as a wrestling fan in Britain of WCW, and it was, it's exciting, man. You've got WCW was, this kind of wrestling. We had wrestling in the afternoons, but American wrestling was always exciting to us when we were growing up.
That's right. It was it was good fun back in the day. I think we used to have WCW Worldwide on our local channel. Before we get to anything else, let me just remind everyone to like and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. Quick reminder that we're on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, I believe it is.
Yep, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Listen Notes, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, Castbox, Spotify, Podbean, the whole dang shaboodle, and not to mention YouTube.
Hit that subscribe button.
We hit that subscribe button, guys. The response to our last 2 videos has been absolutely fucking phenomenal. We have had over 1,000 views on each video. They've only been up a week or so. We're extremely happy with that. We would really, really love it though, guys. If you like what you're seeing and you're coming back and watching more, please subscribe, because
just remember, it's free to subscribe.
It's free to subscribe. Just click a button. Just click a button, light up the bell, and then you will get, every time we come out with a video, you will get a notification. But you can silence them notifications. You can still subscribe without them, so they don't bother you. But please subscribe, because we're really loving the amount of views we're getting, but the subscriber count is still fairly low. So we just really want to try and boost that up. Get to the point where we can be a bit more popular, and then we can start doing competitions and giveaways and things like that. And you never know, we might even do one in this episode to boost that subscriber count. So if we get to that magical number of 1,000 subscribers, we will then do a competition, a giveaway with all of those 1,000 subscribers.
The people out there might not necessarily know that we are memorabilia nerds, geeks, whatever you want to call us. We've got tons of it.
We've got tons of this shit.
We're happy to give some away.
Look at this behind me, mate. We've got figures. We've got. I love my sticker books and my stickers. We have
incredible trading cards. Look,
dude, we've got everything, man. Oh! You fucking had to bring out
Steve Malenko.
Every goddamn episode, this guy's getting mentioned.
What up, Dean?
I'm sorry. Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah, we move on.
We move on.
Yes, we are in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone. This is a different sort of commentary booth. It's 2 play-by-play guys.
Yeah.
There's no no heel commentator. There's no, there's nothing edgy to this commentary team at all. It's
There's
all
no
straight laced
dynamic.
baby face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no dynamic between the two, really.
And yeah, it's an odd pairing. Usually, I'm sort of expecting, but it does explain as to why there isn't a heel commentator on the show later on the show. I won't spoil it just yet, but yeah, it's not my favorite pairing.
I
These
mean,
two.
I like JR, yeah.
Yeah, I love them both separately,
Love them both
but they
separately, like
need
you say.
they need someone to work with them.
They need people to bounce off, yeah, 100%, man.
And straight away, before we get into any action, we cut away to earlier in the day with Eric Bischoff trying to talk to some of the wrestlers as they arrive. Cactus Jack and Abdullah the Butcher arrive in their car, and the first thing I noticed was that Abby is wearing a shirt and tie.
Yeah.
This is not Abdullah gimmick. This is this is Abdullah in a shirt and a tie, and I thought it was hilarious.
With a cigar as
Yeah,
well, and he was looking all weird, and like Cactus Jack was with him, bang bang. It was good stuff, man.
DDP and Diamond Stud are next up. They don't say anything. They just get out their car and move on.
Yeah.
Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes arrive in the next car. And before Windham even gets out, the Enforcers, Larry Zbyszko and Arn Anderson, our WCW World Tag Team Champions, slam his hand in the car door and make a run for it. Yeah, it looked good. And yeah, that was suppose that would explain why Barry was off the show.
Was there an underlying injury issue then?
I'm not sure, because Barry Windham on the episode of World Championship Wrestling the night before, it's something we watched on YouTube. Thank you to whoever, I can't remember who posted that, but yeah, that was good help. Barry was meant to be on the heel team.
Correct.
On this show, and he did an interview saying he didn't care about who he was going to face or beat up or whatever. And yeah, there was a couple of changes to this to the Chambers of Horrors team, the heel team anyway. And I mean, we'll get to that because our first match of the night is the Chamber of Horrors cage match. And this is a fun. This is funny in many ways, but I'm going to say it now. It's possibly the worst match I've ever had to review.
Oh, it was awful. There was so much, so many talking points going on during the match that you're like, right, like, I mean, how the fuck did they come up with this match? First of all, like,
yeah, let's just get it going. It's a cage around the ring. It's not like up like a regular cage like back in the day. It is around the ring. And your object here is to get your opponent into the electric chair and fry them. Brilliant. I mean, who thought of that?
Yeah.
I know that Jim Hurd's in charge at the time, and I think, Dusty, Virgil Runnels is our senior producer, so I'm guessing he had something to do with this.
I mean, this was a fine line though, bro, because in the last episode that we did, it was 1990 SummerSlam 90 WWF, and Dusty Rhodes was involved in that. So when did Dusty leave WWF?
Dusty left after the Royal Rumble, I believe. Not 100% sure, but I know that he was part of Rumble 91 with Dustin, in fact, against Ted DiBiase and Virgil.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out where he goes from there. I've got nothing.
Because it seems basically, let's just say that it was bloody. It was the timing's pretty close. It's within a year of him leaving WWF. Let's say, because
he obviously leaves the WWF in January of '91, and in November or October of '91, he's back leading the WCW charge.
Yeah.
On that WCW episode, World Championship Wrestling episode the night before, the original heel team, now this is a fun one, was meant to be the Diamond Stud, Barry Windham, Abdullah the Butcher, and Oz.
No, wasn't One Man Gang supposed to be in it?
One Man Gang was also supposed to be in it, but he left the WCW
That's
just
right.
beforehand. And for some reason, Oz was now part of this team. That doesn't happen, thankfully. And your heel team for the night is Cactus Jack, Vader, who wasn't spoke of in any realms of being in this Chamber of Horrors match,
No.
the Diamond Stud, and Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah.
Cactus had already been scheduled to take on Bill Kazmaier, like noted before in that episode of of World Championship Wrestling, whatever it was. So there was a little switcheroo, and they're taking on the Steiner brothers, El Gigante, and Sting.
And the Sting that it is this Sting right here.
I mean, I'm going to say this now. What a waste of Sting on a pay-per-view.
First match, dog shit concept. I mean, he gets lost in the schmoz of this match.
I mean, yeah, I've got here. It was going to be a clusterfuck from minute one, and it was. Even the entrances were out of whack. Like the teams didn't come out together. Like one person came out from team number one, then three people came out from team number two. Like, what on earth is going on here? All built up to Sting being the main sort of entrance, but
so just very quickly, I'm assuming that the matches that I don't have on this tape are not all from the beginning. They were like dotted throughout the pay-per-view, and then they've been cut
clearly
out.
dotted throughout the show. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll get to them when they
because the
come up.
Kazmaier match is one of them, isn't it? The Cactus Jack.
Oh, you didn't have Kazmaier. Well, Kazmaier takes on Oz later on. Yeah, there's
but
a
it was
switch.
supposed to be Cactus Jack versus Oz. I don't get that match. There's no Kazmaier Oz match on this tape.
Yeah. Oh dear. You didn't miss much.
Okay, great.
But yeah, Diamond Stud Scott Hall would be gone by 1992 to take on his biggest role at light yet as Razor Ramon. A random masked man came out of one of the coffins in the cage. In this, a random masked man who just got battered.
But
like,
dude, there was two coffins, two big wooden caskets either side. So you've got the ring, and then outside of the ring, either side of the cage, you had these two, and one of them had a guy in it, and it just fell down with the guy in it. It fell down with the guy.
Beat the shit out of it.
Yeah, someone got thrown against it. It then came down, and then the guy was in there. There's just some guy with a black mask on. And they ended up like handcuffing him to like the cage and just beating the shit out of him. Now that's obviously another wrestler, and they've obviously ribbing him like, yeah, let's just fucking, handcuff him to the side of the cage and beat the living snot out of him. But like in the match, it was like, hold on, who's that guy in the mask? And then they had to explain, oh, that was someone who was in the coffin. There was also ghouls in this match.
The ghouls would eventually make their way to the ring. Yeah, Tony described them as ghouls. They were just geezers with like talcum powder on their faces.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I don't know, man.
One of them looked like Mike Graham, so I was sort of like,
crazy, man. By the look of this pay-per-view, it was probably cocaine that was all over their face.
Now, everyone knows I love a good two camera sort of finding out what's happening, and I can't follow it and I despise it. But tonight we have the Refa eye cam.
Yep, spelt reefer. It looked like the reefer eye camera, and it's like
poor ref had to wear this stupid helmet.
Yeah,
with a camera attached to it. It must have been heavy because it's 1991.
I was gonna say, did you catch the look of it as well? It was like one of them. Anyone in the UK, anyone who watched children's TV during the 90s, there was a program called Finders Keepers, right? And it had Neil Buchanan, and it was like this big like set that looked like a house, and then kids had to go in and like find stuff and like
wreck the place,
and like wreck the place, and like Fun House. You remember Fun House with Pat Sharp and Melanie and Martina? I know a few people remember them, but they used to wear these same things with like a massive black crash helmet with just like this huge camera sticking out the top of it.
It must have been heavy. Must have been.
Poor referee was wearing one of them.
Eventually, the chair gets lowered into the ring. And it takes up pretty much the whole ring. What a joke!
It nearly crushes Cactus Jack as well, old Foley.
It must be a rib on like 8 guys in the ring. Cactus is cut. I don't know how it happens. You can't see, like the cameras are nowhere to be seen.
I know exactly when it happened, bro. I know
Okay.
exactly when it happened. There was the lid of the casket. Sting threw it up in the air,
Okay.
and it
Yeah, that's
came
right.
down and hit him on the top of the head. Then he bladed straight away. You could see it so blatantly.
Yeah, you see a few more of these later on.
Yeah, I mean, and
Um,
also you've got um, you've got Abdullah the Butcher is oh, actually there was a point, yeah, after Cactus Jack cut himself and he had blood all over him. He does this crazy bump, yeah, where
yes,
Sting,
where he flies over the rope. Oh
oh
Lord!
dude, and Sting just launches him and he just flies out and hits this
And the
cage, and
camera
then
barely catches it.
oh, and he barely catches it. It was such a great bump, and
It's
he
a
should have
wonderful
caught it.
spot. Yeah, but the cameras, the production team didn't catch it and didn't even replay it. Abdullah the Butcher's trying to climb the cage. What is he thinking? He's massive. And this is where I get to the point where it's a waste of Sting's talent. Jim Ross even says he's the most popular athlete in WCW. You know,
He was
Cactus takes that crazy bump.
he was on.
Obviously.
Sorry, Sting was on every. If you can imagine, like this book, yeah, is just this sticker book is just one example of Sting was on everything, dude. Sting was on
Yeah,
everything.
he's on the annuals.
He's on the annuals. He's on the sticker book. He is on. I've got an advert on the beginning of the VHS, and he is like he is the guy on the
I
advert
mean,
with it.
how many Galoob versions of Sting did they release?
You
Three,
know,
four?
he was the face of this company, and you know, he's in this match and he's covered in fucking Abdullah the Butcher's hepatitis C riddled fucking blood.
Well, yeah, I've got this. Abby starts bleeding, and there was a rumor that he had hepatitis, and he was sued over it
he he
eventually.
he was sued by you know, I talk about the Hannibal TV shoot interviews. That guy Devon Hannibal Nicholson, he's a wrestler, and he sued Abdullah the Butcher for cutting him with his thing and
Before,
infecting him with hepatitis C. There was a court case. Hannibal won the court case. You know, they were trying to sue Abdullah for, you know, fucking millions and that.
well, I mean, yeah, superstar Billy Graham, like, also like was one of the people that said he had it, and yeah, not. I don't really want to dive into that because it's pretty disgusting.
I mean, you've got
He's
men.
bleeding all over Sting. He's bleeding
He's
like,
bleeding
yeah,
all over it. I mean, some of Sting's blood's going to be Cactus Jack's. And to be honest, I'm surprised Mick Foley, the amount of stuff he did with Abdullah,
yeah.
or Larry, as his like Abdullah the Butcher from Syria or Sudan, where he's
From the
billed from.
Sudan,
His real name's fucking Larry Shreve. Like
yeah.
got the most American name, and he's like, you know, I swear he used to sell used cars.
Did you notice that the switch had gone into the on position? It'd fallen down twice. Poor referee. I think it might have been Pee Wee Anderson had to climb up and put it back into position. And yeah, I just knew that this was a shit shot. Yeah,
It's
I just don't know. You can the refs trying to fix it. It's comical. Like you don't see any like decent work out of someone like Vader on the show. You don't see anything out of the stud. Like even the Steiners, you only see little clips of the Steiners. It's like,
I mean,
what on earth is happening?
the entrance for Vader. Vader comes down wearing that big like
Yeah,
headdress thing, and then he takes it off, and then like these fucking steam things start flying out the back of it. It would have looked cool if he was wearing it, and then it
yeah.
started, but he took it off and he just started walking down the ring like holding it, and then like I say, the entrances were absolutely ruined in this thing.
Um, Cactus climbs up to hit the switch, and he's up there forever. Rick Steiner's been put in the chair, and Cactus, for some reason, is stalling. Obviously, he knows what's going on, and he just can't do it yet. And There's a reversal from Rick Steiner to Abdullah. He sort of suplexes Abdullah into the chair, and Cactus, who doesn't see it,
I
it's
think there was a
hard to get positive on this.
there was a door though. There was like where the chair was. There was like a little door. So when they slammed that outer door cage, that's when Cactus done it. And I think he was waiting for them to slam that door. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on this one.
Oh, I'm not giving them that, but
I'll give him
yeah,
it, man. I'll give.
Abby's in the chair. Cactus pulls a switch. I've got here. Thank God it's over. There's some fireworks to simulate an electrocution. Yeah, the worst match I've ever seen. And I've got here Abby on the way out kicks a stagehand who's just putting part of the ring, the entranceway back. What a prick!
Dude, he fucking boots him full on the side of the face and knocks his
Yeah,
glasses
what
off as
a
well.
dickhead. Like,
He's not even a wrestler. He's not even a wrestler. He's a guy
he
basically.
didn't sell anything. He didn't.
No, they were putting a bit of the staging back in for the walkway, where they'd removed it so then the cage could come down next to the ring. As the cage has gone back up again, they're getting the piece of the walkway, and they're just literally stagehands. They're not wrestlers or nothing. Yeah. And Abdullah walks past, pushes fucking Cactus Jack out the way, and then just boots him on the side of the face, and then starts attacking the Ghouls.
Yeah, fuck.
It was fucking such a cluster.
Like, that was that was the chamber. That was the selling point of the show. Chamber of Horrors, and it was hideous. We'll cut away to JR and Tony. They can't keep a straight face when they call Eric Bischoff and Missy Hite distinguished colleagues. They start chuckling, and they just can't keep it straight. I've got here Eric is dressed as the Count from Sesame Street.
Yep.
I think, and Missy is Vegas showgirl. Would that be an accurate?
I don't think I've got this little bit. There is a little bit after where we have where you have what's his name, Bischoff. Bischoff as Dracula. That's the first time I see him. He's there.
I think it was more like the Count from Sesame Street.
Yeah, is it?
I just think it was terrible. But yeah, they're trying to find out who the Phantom is. The WCW Phantom. That's been a big part of their Halloween thing.
Yeah.
They asked the Young Pistols who come into shot, Tracy Smothers and it's an Armstrong. I can't remember which one.
I don't get any of this.
And like one thing I've just got, holy shit, they are southern as fuck.
I love Tracy Smothers.
Real twang to it, yeah.
I love it.
They're asking if the Patriots are yellow because they won't defend the US tag titles against them. And yeah, it's just it's funny stuff. It's good to be reminded of these things. At least they weren't being called the Southern Boys. They were the Young Pistols now. I'm not sure you'll have this match. We have the Creatures making their debut.
No, not got it.
I'll be quick. The Creatures make their debut here. They're coming out to either, I think it's Ultimo Dragon or Psychosis's music as well, which was a funny thing because, you're a big Psychosis fan.
Love it.
And I found out that underneath these masks of the Creatures was Joey Maggs, who was lifelong jobber, and Johnny Rich, who I don't really know. And they are taking on, now this is a team and a half, the Rap Master, PN News, and Big Josh.
Yeah, dude.
And we have all that, yo, baby, yo, all of that stuff. He does a little rap, which was written by a fan who won a contest.
Okay.
See, this is all the stuff you've missed. There was a contest to write PN News' rap before the match. I'm not going to repeat the rap. It was pretty dire. We also get our only cheap pop of the night.
Oh, nice.
We get a "What's Up Chattanooga" from PN News, and the cheap pop is what we live for.
We love it, man.
PN, he's a big guy. He's using his gut to his advantage. He's bouncing these creatures off of him. JR had a little chuckle when he said the 403 pounder, because I'm not so sure. Um, Now we're gonna talk about Big Josh for a second. Matt Bourne would obviously go on to play Doink. This guy could go. This
Yeah.
guy in the ring was brilliant. He hits a beautiful German suplex on Creature 1 or 2. And yeah, he would play the best version of Doink, the original, which was creepy, dark Doink. Sadly he passed away in 2013. But yeah, Matt Bourne could go. He was throwing drop kicks and yeah, really good stuff.
Did Big Josh turn up with the Bears? No.
No bears this time. No,
No
he just
Bears.
came out. He came out with a little bit of a dance and a jig with PN News.
He was
But
huge. He was huge in the 80s, dude.
big guy.
Absolutely huge. He was, his dad was a wrestler, but him himself, he had a legacy all of his own in the 80s, man. He NWA stuff, I believe. Or AWA.
But yeah, and also a bit of a thing. If you've got a big Josh Galoob WCW Galoob toy, they are rare.
They are, because it was a UK exclusive.
Yeah.
And if you've got his axe handle as well with it, if it's mint on card,
I don't have the axe handle. I don't think. I know I have the figure itself, but not the handle.
if it's mint on card, it's worth loads of money, mate.
Yeah, I don't have that either. Just out of the box. Jesus wept. PN News hits a splash from the top rope, and it looks like he absolutely crushes the poor creature. And that's your 3 count. I don't remember seeing the creatures after this. I think it was just a Halloween thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, some, trick or treat, here comes some creatures, blah, blah, blah. And that's it.
Can I just say, I've always been a bit disappointed that no one has really ever carried off a clown gimmick really well since Doink the Clown. I know it was the 90s, but he really, when he first started off as Doink, the problem, what fucked Doink the Clown? Let me just say, in my opinion, what fucked Doink the Clown is when they turned him face. Yeah.
Easy.
It like when they started him feuding against Jerry Lawler,
with the little people.
Doink, Ink, Dink, Wink, Bink, Pink, Slink, cheesy, sleazy, and you had fucking Survivor Series, you had Doink the Clown's team with a load of midgets, Jerry Lawler with a load of king midgets. Doink was best when he was a heel, because when he first came in with a cigar, and burning the kids' balloons and shit. Yeah. Like, dude, he was amazing. Like, and he had that. Matt Bourne had this kind of character about him where he was like laughing and then just really dark at the next bit.
Yeah.
It's
obviously patterned on Tim Curry's It, but
it's, a little bit, yeah. And also the Joker from the Batman series that was on the TV. A guy called Ramiro played the Joker when Adam West on the TV show Batman. Yeah. So that Joker, his mannerisms, that's what Matt Bourne was kind of going for. And I really enjoyed Doink. There was another guy in TNA who was like a clown. I think he was called Crazy Steve or something.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't watch around that time.
Crazy Steve. And basically you had big Rob Terry, the Welsh guy, was like he was called the Freak, and he had like a mask on, and it was called the Menagerie. And it was like a little stable in TNA, and it was called the Menagerie. And you had Crazy Steve, who was like this clown character, and he would bring this like metal bar down to the ring, and then Rob Terry, the big Welsh fella who was part of the British invasion in TNA before or after he was unmasked or whatever, he used to take the bar. It was like some circus attraction. So you had some girl coming out who was like this showgirl, and then you had Crazy Steve, and then you had the Freak, and then yeah, so Rob the Freak would get this metal bar that was given to him by Crazy Steve and bend it round his neck in the middle of the ring, and then give it back because Crazy Steve, this clown, would be like all weird walking down to the ring and then like biting the metal bar to show it was metal and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, Crazy Steve was like another clown
Did
character.
it work?
But I
Did it
really
work?
think
Did it
that
work?
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Because I'd never heard of him up until now. So
Yeah, I mean, I was a big TNA mark for a long time. I still to this day believe that there was a certain era of TNA that was fucking phenomenal. It was amazing. I mean, this is where AJ Styles made his career before he went to WWE. I mean, you at one time TNA had um, Cowboy James Storm, Robert Roode, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Sting, Kurt Angle, Booker T, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy. Um, it had them all, dude. It had, let's just let's just Austin Aries. That is my Rockstar Spud signed Bound for Glory, and Hulk Hogan, Victoria. It had Al Snow. It had
oh, okay. Now we're just taking the piss.
no, honestly, dude. It
No,
had
come on.
the Dudley Boys. It had
You lost me at Al Snow.
Chavo Guerrero. It had just Rob Van Dam. There was an era of TNA, dude, from God knows, 2010.
Here's the thing with TNA, and like we don't want to dive off topic too much. You mentioned a lot of those names. How old were those guys at
Dude,
this point?
they were putting in phenomenal matches, bro. Kurt Angle, when he was in TNA, the matches Kurt Angle was having on a weekly basis. I mean, I fucking love Kurt Angle. I fucking love the geezer. And I wish that a lot of the wrestlers nowadays had that guy's integrity. Let's just put it like that. And let's hope no stories come about fucking Kurt Angle. But anyway, I love Kurt Angle, and the matches he was having on a weekly basis with people like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. He was and he was fucked at that time as well. But dude, he was no, man. I saw TNA live more than a handful of times when they came to the UK. I went to see him a few times, and it was good stuff, man. I even met Dixie Carter and held the belt.
This TNA sponsored program was brought to you by Chris Trent.
Yeah, it was. No, seriously. Like at one time, I was. Their programming was pissing all over WWE at the time. Honestly, because I used to watch both of them at the same time. TNA was on Bravo. All their pay-per-views were on Bravo. They had good visibility on TV. It was a golden era for TNA. There was a time. We'll do. At the moment we're doing pay-per-views and we focus. We'll go to TNA because they had some absolutely fucking great pay-per-views. They really did. The problem was the booking. They had the talent. They were having the matches. I mean, dude, you had Black Machismo. Jay Lethal was there. They had Ric Flair. They had like fucking hell, man. They had Hogan, dude, at one point. They literally. I love TNA, and I hate it when people TNA bash. For the sake of it, because I mean, let's face it, fucking Dixie Carter a lot of the time, bless her, don't know her ear hole from her arsehole. When it comes to wrestling, she's a bit of a mark, and she believes what people tell her. And the product has been up, down, up, down, up, down. So yes, this TNA broadcast is brought to you by me, but it's just we were talking about Matt Bourne, and we got onto clowns, and we got onto Crazy Steve.
Yeah, you got onto Crazy Steve, and you went to TNA, and
yeah, I just wanted to.
You mentioned Al Snow, and
anything so I can flash off me Rockstar Spud signature, mate. Yeah. Shout out Drake Maverick, aka Rockstar Spud. No
We'll
stories.
move on to the next match. I don't know if you've got this one. Have you got Bobby Eaton against Terence Taylor?
No, I don't. But
Oh,
I do have the bit when beautiful Bobby meets up
goes
with Missy
through. Yeah,
Hyatt with the fucking pumpkin.
something. Right, we'll get to that. It's Bobby Eaton and Terence Taylor. Two guys who are in the WCW top 10 at the moment. That was a big thing. WCW, every show, would bring up the top 10.
The
And
rankings, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
They
it was good.
mentioned it
I
a few
enjoyed
times.
that.
Yeah.
And they took that quite seriously in the early 90s. Taylor is with Alexandra York, with the York Foundation. Taylor is the computerized man of the 1990s, whatever the fuck that means.
Better than the fucking Red Rooster.
Exactly. I put on here underneath, it smells like chicken or is it rooster?
Yeah. What a
And
fucking rib.
Eaton, obviously beautiful Bobby, what a hand in the ring, like. And I just put like, holy shit, the early exchanges in this match are so smooth. It is beautiful wrestling, like, and you know, we mock that because he's the rooster. He was really good in the ring.
Oh, Terry Taylor.
Yeah,
And let's just mention as well, Terry Taylor.
Gimmick.
He was backstage at TNA for a long time as well. He was involved with TNA for a long time. He was like a road agent, I think.
Back to TNA people, we're gonna shift right back onto Bobby Eaton because Bobby Eaton never turned up in TNA, did he?
That'll be your thing that you mention in the Twitter thing. You know, when you every time you mention on Twitter a few things that come up in the thing, it'll just be a random. And Chris fucking loves off TNA. Like it'll be, you know, there's something for you TNA fans in this episode.
What, all of them?
Fuck off, dude. Don't cuss TNA. Don't make me get my signed Rockstar Spud DVD out again for our video viewers.
I kid. I actually enjoy some of that really early TNA stuff. I will, you know, I
Great stuff, man.
Turning
Bill Samoa
Point was a great
Joe,
thing.
AJ, yeah, man.
Bobby Eaton for me doesn't get enough respect.
Love beautiful Bobby, man.
Yeah, how good was he in the ring?
Or Lord Robert.
Yeah, I mean the mullet is impressive too. There are better mullets on this show, but this is one of the best mullets you'll see. Bobby's over with the crowd. It's a good crowd as well. There are big chants of Bobby. There's a gut wrench power bomb on the walkway from Taylor to Bobby Eaton, which gets a good like sort of good reaction. But then we get too many rest holds, and it's like I think we get 3 or 4 rest holds, and you've lost the momentum, and the match takes only a bit of a nosedive. Terry Taylor misses a Vader bomb. I'm sure Vader was pleased that he was trying to use that in the match. And Jim Ross makes a little comment. He says he calls Bobby Eaton the Quiet Man, which is obviously a reference to a John Wayne film. JR loves John Wayne, and it's the movie with the same name. And I've seen The Quiet Man. I love The Quiet Man. It is a hilarious film. So if anyone out there has never seen it, it's John Wayne not being a cowboy. It's John Wayne in a comedy film, based in Ireland. It's a cracking bit of film that. And then almost out of nowhere, we get a picture perfect Alabama Jam for a 3 count. And beautiful Bobby moves up the rankings, I guess, and Terence Taylor slips down. The computer didn't work.
The computer didn't work. Computer says no.
Yeah, the computer said no. That's a reference to a now banned TV show in the UK.
Yep. Fucking what a time to be alive, isn't it? There's so much stuff going on in the world. It's actually crazy. This is why we're just enjoying delving into these pay-per-views, you know.
Yeah. Next up, because there is a quick turnaround, is Jimmy Garvin. Do you have this?
Yeah. It
Jimmy Garvin
is
and Johnny B. Bad.
Jimmy Jam Garvin, with Michael Hayes, who's got a bad arm, against Johnny B. Bad with Teddy Long.
Theodore R. Long, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Godfather. Any excuse to hear Bad Street USA. What a song. What an entrance. People love that song.
Dude, what the fuck was going on with Johnny B. Bad's attire and makeup?
Well, I've got this actually because this is one for you. The tassel rule does not apply here in WCW.
It doesn't in Chattanooga, right? Because I swear he was supposed to be the. Well, he's not the heel, is he? In this, Johnny B.
No,
Bad?
he's not. But it looks like Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin have decided to have a little bit of fun, stuck on Atlanta Braves hats,
Yeah,
which seem to be the team in the area.
giving it the fucking tomahawk.
With the tomahawk chop, yeah, and all of that, and yeah, it's they've got one over on Johnny here because there's big Freebird chants at the
Big
beginning.
Freebirds chance, big DDT chance.
Yeah, like
You
I
know,
said, the tassel rule does not apply because Johnny B. Bad is covered in tassels and is not the babyface in this match.
it was disappointing, but as any rule, there was always an exception to the rule.
There's another exception later on in the show, which, yeah, I mean, I'll explain it later.
Dude,
But
you know the problem. Do you know why the tassel rule didn't work here? The tassel rule didn't work for Johnny B. Bag because he also had garters around his knee pads and around his boots. He had like your nan's doilies sewn to his ass. He also had dangly diamond earrings, cheek blusher, and
doesn't go over well in Chattanooga.
and pink eye. Like if you can, you know when you watch like those beauty pageants where they make the little kids like Honey Boo Boo and all that, yeah, like when they've got the
What is
kids
that?
the kids doing the fucking beauty pageants, it looks like one of the mums has got hold of Johnny B. Bad and just literally giving him girls' makeup. Man's got lipstick on, pink eyeshadow. This is 91 Chattanooga, bruv.
Yeah, this does not go over that well with the Chattanooga crowd. It's almost like that. What was it when Stunning Steve gave Brian Pillman a kiss in one
Yeah,
of our earlier episodes? Yeah,
yeah,
and
dude. Yeah, it didn't go over, man.
yeah,
But he looked like a male transvestite. I don't know if you can say that now. But he did look like not a transsexual. It's different. He looked like a transvestite, like a bloke dressed up as a woman, basically, with the makeup. He had a moustache, you know, the beard and everything, but just with full woman's makeup.
it was an odd gimmick, but yeah,
Really
like
weird. I don't know what.
I mean, ironically he makes it work later on with a lot less makeup.
Yeah, I think they
Like,
toned
but
it
he gets
down.
over.
Yeah,
He
they
gets
toned it
over.
down.
Yeah. Um, the hip toss from Garvin to Bad outside the ring.
Beautiful, but it was like a reversal,
Unbelievable.
reversal, reversal.
Incredible, yeah.
Beautiful
Fans
stuff.
go nuts for it as well.
Yeah,
Like
beautiful.
up until this, like the most over people so far in this show are the Freebirds and Sting. Like
Yeah,
up until now, it's and the hip toss outside the ring over the top rope, which doesn't get a disqualification. We'll move on to that later on.
there's
But
yeah. There's a
doesn't
couple
get
of
a
moments
DQ.
where they talk about it and they say, "Oh, it's referee's discretion," and he's decided to allow it.
Yeah,
Happens a couple of times in the Stone
I've
Stone
got
and
here.
Steve match.
Garvin looks really sharp.
He was really good in this. He was feeding off the crowd. Hayes, we mentioned him in the last one when we were talking about In Your House when he was
Yeah,
Doc
yeah,
Hendricks.
Michael Hayes. I think if Michael Hayes was fitter in the 90s and had maybe didn't work half of the 80s and work half the 90s, he'd have been a champion somewhere. The guy had charisma like just oozing out of him.
Even in this, he wasn't even part of the match. He
Yeah,
came down. He was the one who was supposed to face Johnny B. Bad.
yeah.
So he had his arm in a sling, okay, and Johnny B. Bad gets hip tossed out of the ring, and then while Garvin is pulling the referee, he fucking lavers Johnny B. Bad with his with his bad arm, and
It's
then
about hitting the mat and
he's
that with
hitting
his
the mat and
arm.
everything, and even they go, "Oh, I guess his arm's fine now," you know. So he
Yeah.
clearly it was, but the way he played it was fantastic. It was absolute gold. The
Um,
Freebirds were over as fuck in this, man.
yeah. Johnny starts to resort to some heel tactics. I guess they're just playing off of it, maybe on the fly. He uses a little bit of cloth to start choking Jimmy.
That was
They
Teddy
make,
Long's
they make
idea.
they make a hideous mess of a flying sunset flip.
Oh, dude, he headbutts the mat. He
Yeah.
tries to do a sunset flip off the top turnbuckle. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, Johnny B. Bad, the way he hops over out of the ring, very quick in the ring, agile, you know, so he jumps up in the corner, goes to do this sunset flip thing, and literally just, like, headbutts the floor, gets an arse on his head. Oh, it was awful. I felt bad for him, man. It looked like
They were billing this match as the left hand against the DDT. Johnny hits a flying elbow from the top. Would be a finisher in any other promotion, I believe, at the time, but not here. It's a short match. It's not a long match.
Yep.
You do get the big DDT. Fans go wild for it. Theodore R. Long is distracting the referee, so there's no 3 count. He gets up, and Johnny throws I would say, a little bit subpar left hand, and it knocks out Jimmy Garvin and gets a 3 count, which is a bit of a surprise. I think even JR and they mentioned this is a big win for Johnny B. Bad. And after the match, Michael Hayes comes out and lays out Theodore. Well, they were calling him Peanut Head.
They were calling him Peanut Head, yeah.
Yeah, there was a few chants of Peanut Head in this match, and yeah, he lays out Peanut Head Long.
I don't know if that's a racist slur on his.
How far do we dive into that? Is it a racial thing, or is it just?
Well, I mean, do you remember the footballers, Jason Lee?
Pineapple on his head.
Pineapple on his head, and Dion Dublin. Yeah, they used to say he's got a Malteser on his head.
Did they? I don't remember the Dion Dublin one.
Yeah, Dion Dublin. He's got a Malteser on his head, and he was a black fella with a skinhead. Well, with literally just bald.
Now the host of one of the Holmes shows on BBC, right?
What, Dion Dublin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, one of those shows where they buy houses and flip them or whatever. Yeah.
Fucking Homes Under the Hammer or whatever.
Yeah, it could be Homes Under the Hammer, yeah.
That's crazy, right? Well, for any American viewers or anyone that isn't British, this is like your classic 90s UK Premiership football trivia.
Premier League, yeah, big time player. Scored a lot of goals for Coventry and Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And yeah, now he's hosting Homes Under the Hammer, so it's a bit of a career change. But yeah, we'll move on.
Fucking Dion! How did we get to mention Dion Dublin in a wrestling podcast? Jason Lee.
We go back to Missy again, talking about the Phantom, and at this point, Bobby walks into shot holding a pumpkin.
Yep.
Saying he won a match and he's going to celebrate, but he's looking at the pumpkin at the same time, saying he's going to celebrate. What's he doing with that pumpkin?
Yeah, it's very strange. He's like, "Leave me alone. I just won a match. I'm going to celebrate." I got that.
And yeah, Missy throws another fit. That seems to be a standard thing on any show. And our next match is the Television Championship, which is held by Stunning Steve Austin. Stunning Steve again gets another one with Lady Blossom, which was his wife at the time, I believe.
That is correct. This is probably one of the best matches on the card, I would say.
Very, very good. Only ruined by a couple of bits, which I'll dive into in a bit.
And most of them were from fucking Dustin.
No, I don't think. I'm not going to blame anyone in the ring for any ring work.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
I like Dustin, but I'm gonna blame him because he made some stupid. He did some stupid things. But can I just talk about? Can we just talk about Lady Blossom quickly?
Yes.
Yeah, Lady Blossom, she was Stone Cold Steve Austin's wife. And she is actually the woman, she's British. She's from fucking Southend-on-Sea, mate. She's from Southend-on-Sea, mate. She is the woman who is responsible.
All the credit.
She has all the credit for basically creating the Stone Cold Steve Austin name. And she tells the story in a book. She tells it on shoot interviews where she's British, we're English. You know, we drink a cup of tea. Anything that's wrong with you, oh, you're not feeling too good. Here, I'll make you a cup of tea. Oh, you're a
Have
bit
some tea,
cold.
have some lemon, have some honey in it. Yeah.
No, I'll make you a cup of tea. So they were talking about Stone Cold having the name, and he was watching all these gangster things, and he wanted the idea of someone who was cold, ice cold or whatever. And she said, "Oh, don't worry about it, Steve. Look, drink your tea. It's gonna get stone cold."
There
Boom.
you had it.
There you go. Because that is something we say in England. It's like, "Oh, my dinner's stone cold," or "Oh, my tea's gone stone cold." Like, so there we go. And she was, you know, but also just another little side note. Do you know who else she was married to, bro?
Chris Adams.
He trained her.
I'm
He
sure he
wasn't.
married her as well, didn't he?
No, I don't think so. You know who else she married to?
Oh dear. Go on.
Billy Jack Haynes.
Really?
She was married to Billy Jack Haynes for at least a year. They were
Okay.
together, and Billy Jack Haynes mentions on a podcast about things that she would later come out and say about Stone Cold Steve Austin. And say, you know, I know her. You know, we were married and all this stuff. So yeah, she was married to Billy Jack Haynes. She might have, yeah, because she took the ring name Adams because she was trained by a gentleman. What's his name? Adams.
I've just looked it up. It was her then boyfriend, Chris Adams.
There we go,
yeah,
Chris.
They never got married. Yeah,
right. So gentleman Chris Adams, yeah, trained her.
Not
Obviously,
not so gentlemanly, Chris Adams.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like that's another story for another day. But
yes.
Yeah, Lady Blossom, the creator of Stone Cold.
That is correct, and she, you know,
anyway.
Yeah, they got kids together and everything. And
we take a quick break because it's memorabilia time, I think.
Is it memorabilia time?
I think so, because we have from 1991, and I have to thank Chris for this, WCW trading cards.
And
you can see that it's unopened packet of WCW trading cards from 1991, and we're going to open one or two even.
Well, the funny thing is, yeah, for our video viewers, our podcast viewers obviously won't see this, but yeah, I've got a load of these, and Jordan has some now.
Thank you, Chris.
And so I've got one here. Jordan's got one there. I've actually got more than one. I have your lovely little.
He's got boxes.
I've got boxes of them. I've got absolute boxes of them. So I've got here your little presentation thing, how it would be. You walk into the sweet shop with your little bit of money that you got, your little bit of pocket money, and you go in there and you buy.
Not to buy sweets, yeah, and you get a trading card.
You get your WCW trading cards. I've also got unopened boxes from 1991.
So yeah, this is stuff from 1991. We're going to crack open right now, and let's do it. Let's see what we can get.
Oh, dude, I'm so exciting!
This is a weird sort of memorabilia trip, and we figured it would be fun to.
This is what you get on this channel, people. This is what you get. You get memorabilia. You get us opening, blimmin' 1991 trading cards that are like 30 years old.
And our first card out for me.
We'll go card for card. Who you got?
It's not Dean Malenko.
Oh, you don't.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, there's so many cards here. I don't think we can go one for one because it'd take all night. But
no, we'll go one for one quickly. Go on. Who you got?
I have Big El Gigante.
I've got El Gigante, but he's at the back of mine. There we go.
Oh, you got a different one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
We have someone who's later on the show, Mr. Flying Brian.
Oh, the great card. I've got Steiner Brothers.
Yeah, I have a Steiner Brothers one here, but again, it looks different. So
it is different. Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Look at this. I mean, this is another one. Look, someone else who will later show up on the Halloween Havoc is Ricky Morton.
Lovely. I've got Mr. Sting.
Stinger. Look at that.
These cards are 30 years old, people.
Yeah, this is something.
This is history.
someone who was not on this show and not even in the promotion, Sid Vicious,
Oh, well, I've got
currently in the WWF at this point.
Ric Flair.
Got H. Again, someone who's not in the promotion at the time. I have this one. It just says Doom, but it's a picture of Ron Simmons.
Yeah, I've got a Doom, but I've got Butch Reed.
Oh, this is weird. There's Tommy Rich as well.
I've got the Southern Boys.
Oh, the Sun Boys. Yeah, we mentioned them just now. Oh, no, this is a good one. Dirty Dutch Mantel.
Oh, lovely. Good stuff.
Again, I've not got much of him in WCW in 1991.
I've got Sid Vicious.
Sid. Again, these are all different cards, so I don't know how many cards they released.
A massive set these were.
We have Michael P.S. Hayes of the Freebirds.
Fantastic.
We mentioned.
I've got another Ric Flair, a different one.
This is mad. We've got the current WCW World Heavyweight Champion Lex Luger.
Fantastic.
He's looking good.
I've got another Southern Boys one, but this one is predominantly Tracy Smothers.
It seems like they're not very creative with their work here on these cards.
Yeah.
I have Teddy Long.
Oh, dude, you got Teddy. I got Missy Hyatt, bro.
And lastly, we have the most popular man in WCW, Sting.
You got a Stinger, yep.
Yeah.
And I've got Arn Anderson, and for some reason, Flying Brian.
Good stuff.
So we've just done an unboxing video as well. So there we go.
Unboxing from 1991, people. Enjoy that.
And these cards here, these will probably be part of the giveaway for our subscriber giveaway. 1991 Impel WCW trading cards. We'll do a little competition, and we'll give some away. Because we want those subscribers, because we won't lie, we want to monetize the channel, because then we can give more shit away. That's ultimately what we want to do. We want to make this channel as best as we possibly can, but we can't just be giving away all our shit, because we don't have that much money, guys. We're just normal working dudes. We're not millionaires or whatever. We're not PewDiePie or whoever that do all these, get millions of bucks. So we're just a couple of guys, and we're not ex-wrestlers who do a podcast about figures, wink wink, who can afford to be doing that kind of shit.
Buy more figures, yeah.
Yeah, and also I reckon those guys, that fucking podcast, I watch it, watch their videos and that, but that is partly the reason why the cost of figures is going through the bloody roof. Bastards.
Business 101 from Chris.
There we go, man. Shoot from the hip, son. That was really enjoyable. Really enjoyed that, opening up them cards for our lovely viewership.
Yeah, 1991. It's almost 30 years?
It's a year off 30 years, bro.
Let's natural Dustin Rhodes. JR says here, if he had a draft pick, Austin would be his number one. And you'd see that later on in the years that Austin, like JR, would always go to bat for Austin, and they would be, for a little while anyway, really good friends in the World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah, they're good buddies. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Dustin Rhodes were actually ranked 4 and 5, for your information.
Yeah. These two are clearly, they've got to be considered the future of WCW at this point, because TV champ and all that stuff. There's a nice lariat early on from Dustin, which gets the crowd going.
It's a great match, because the chain wrestling.
I've got this. This is my next point. The chain wrestling, beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful, and it reminds me of that kind of wrestling that we learned when we were first learnt wrestling. When you first get trained in professional wrestling, you should be getting trained in chain wrestling, in working with people, doing your basic wrist locks, hammer locks, reversals.
Forget about your fucking flips.
Yep.
and learn some holds.
You know, some proper chain wrestling. And this match was just absolutely beautiful for that. It was, you know, uh, beautiful reversals, you know,
Yeah,
hammer locks, wrist
incredible.
locks, drop toe holds, you know, the way they would both get up, legs, you know, head scissors, you know, loads, absolutely beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, really good. JR says tonight he's unsure where Lady Blossom would hide anything. She'd usually be hiding some sort of brass knuckles or something for Steve. I'm guessing he's referring to the sort of tight revealing outfit, which someone in production or the cameraman really enjoys because they zoom in on her chest at one point, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
no, leave her alone.
I'll tell you what, let's not zoom into her chest. How about we zoom into our chests as well, dude, quickly?
Yeah, speaking of chests, you can see that just about.
This is our merchandise. These are our cartoon characters,
Artwork from
obviously.
Tyrant Tales, yeah.
What is it? Tyrant Tales, isn't it? Yeah.
Tyrant Tales, yeah. Thank you very much for the artwork again. And
Yeah,
those
dude.
t-shirts are, still one of a kind, aren't they? Really, these t-shirts.
Ain't nobody else got them, baby, except me and you.
If there is a demand, I'm sure we'll take a request or take some sort of like.
They look cool. They look really like King of the Hill style. You know, like I really love them. You know,
I love King of the Hill, so that's a good one.
It's fantastic. It's really King of the Hill-ish. You know, you've got Jordan, me there in my pants, in my little wrestling pants with my boots. Got Jordan with his lovely cape. Look at that. Look at him. Beautiful. These are the heroes you fucking need, dudes. These are the heroes. Not necessarily, you might not want them, but you need them.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Anywho. The bump from Rhodes outside the ring, he misses the crossbody.
Yeah.
And ends up bouncing and flying out the ring. I thought that was really good.
He literally does bounce as well and then flies out the ring. Crazy.
This is where I lose it because Austin lays in a couple of punches and Rhodes blades.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, what's the point? It's a TV title match. It's 15 minutes. It's not going to enhance this match.
Yeah, but you're forgetting who's his daddy.
You're forgetting
who's his daddy.
He doesn't need to.
No, he doesn't need to. But also, Austin later on in this match would also blade.
And yeah, Austin blades as well, which again is even more pointless because he blades with only a few seconds left, it would seem.
Literally minutes to go, yeah. And there was it wasn't that kind of match. It wasn't that kind of match. It was your pure wrestling. It
was meant to be pure.
You know, it is the thing that pissed me off about what Dustin was doing in this match as well. When he was covering Stone Cold or stunning Steve,
slamming the mat.
He was counting himself. He wasn't hooking the leg. He wasn't pulling the arm in. Yeah. He was just literally just leaning on him and just tapping the mat as well with the referee. It was stupid.
Tony brings that up and says he's not really sure what he's doing. Lady Blossom paintbrushes Dustin and she gets a couple of stiff ones in.
She does get a couple of stiff shots, a couple of slaps, and then she gives this like evil kind of grin. Yeah. I thought she was great ringside. I thought she worked really well.
This match was going to end as predictably as we all thought. It would go full 15 minutes, time limit draw, but both guys put everything into it. It was excellent.
They were talking about how the TV champion would end up always defending his title a lot more than even the heavyweight champs, because the heavyweight champs would do it once every 30 days. They would have to, but the TV title would be defended every single week on TV.
Yeah, every week. And I really liked this match. I thought it went well. Just a good piece of work from both guys. I get a promo for Starrcade 91 Lethal Lottery Battle Bowl. That's a lot of words to say for a pay-per-view. Yeah, just a quick video promo for that. And then I think we move into one where that you don't have, and it's from the Emerald City, Oz.
Oh yeah, I don't have this.
Takes on, and this has got to be a rib. The world's strongest human being, Bill Kazmaier. Like, he was a strong man. I think he did maybe win or take part in World's Strongest Man or stuff like that. He's carrying a fucking globe, like a balloon globe on his back, though, as he comes down to the ring. Oh, I don't know whose idea was that. Yeah, again, this is so short, this match. Bill's massive. Like, he's huge. Like, he's just so, like, he's so built. And he has no trouble deadlifting Oz. Oz doesn't have to do a thing here. Oz, for anyone who doesn't know, would later become Diesel, Kevin Nash, Vinny Vegas. I know Chris likes Vinny.
I love him.
Yeah,
and he's not a small guy. He's not a small guy to deadlift.
Almost 7 foot tall, yeah. And he's quite well built, upper body and stuff. But yeah, Bill has no trouble sorting this one out. It is messy. Bill is green. Like, you can clearly see that. There's a back suplex from Oz to Kazmaier, where Kazmaier sort of lands on the back of his neck. And it does make you sort of wince a little bit. But here's the funny part, one of the best parts of the match. Oz tries to throw Kazmaier over the top rope. Kazmaier holds on and skins the cat, just like Shawn Michaels.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a hell of a thing for someone that big. Sorry, Ricky Steamboat would do it as well. But yeah, Shawn Michaels sort of made it famous in the 90s. And we get a torture rack for the win. Just a torture rack for the win. Kazmaier gets him up, torture racks him, that's it. JR says it wasn't pretty. He's right, it wasn't. Do you have Van Hammer up next?
No.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, I've got our Lord Van Hammer's up next, because we all know what this is about. He's taking on Doug Summers, but they mentioned before that he was meant to have taken on Michael Hayes. How many matches did Hayes have on this fucking show?
Yeah.
They might have got it wrong, I don't know. But Hammer's entrance, he comes out, he's flipping the guitar around, he's spinning it around. The only thing he doesn't do is fucking play it. And yeah, Summers almost knocks himself out. Hammer throws him into a corner. Summers trips on his own feet and crashes into the turnbuckle head first. And we get to the finish. It's a slingshot suplex, which is just dire. He almost ends up crashing Summers' head into the mat. Like, poor Doug Summers has a nightmare of a match here. And yeah, that's it. It's done. Like, thank God. And
wow.
Starts headbanging again, and I just think, oh fuck it, just move on, please. We get some comments from the two guys in the light heavyweight title match. Really generic babyface stuff from Brian Pillman, Flying Brian. My apologies. And I thought that Richard Morton here would have a bit more, like, he's sort of a seasoned veteran, knows how to cut a promo, and he just cuts this pretty lame duck promos, like just saying how he's going to win and bring the title back to the York Foundation. And it's like, oh, okay, thank you for that. And it's Flying Brian in the light heavyweight title match. This is a vacant title, light heavyweight title match against Richard Morton, who we know as Ricky Morton from Rock Roll Express, with Alexandra York again. And poor Nick Patrick has to wear that stupid fucking reefer eye the camera, yeah, on his head. It is a battle of the mullets. Morton's is better than Brian's, I'll give him that. It's a really nice mullet. Very well. A lot of tassels on Morton as well, which I was hoping you'd have this match to talk about, because he's got a lot of tassels.
He's tasseled up.
Like he's just wearing Rock and Roll Express like gear. Like, get some new fucking gear. You're a heel now.
G'd up from the feet up. Maybe he just couldn't let go of the tassels, dude. Tassels are a hard thing to let go.
Something I noticed here: the light heavyweight limit in this match for the light heavyweight title is 236 pounds.
That's not light.
The cruiserweight limit, which would later go on, would be 205. And in boxing terms, like when we talk about real weights, cruiserweight is heavier than light heavyweight. So who's fucking doing this to us? Again, I'm pointing fingers at Jim Herd.
I was gonna say, or that darn championship committee.
Yeah, the championship committee. We do hear about the ever so secretive championship committee later on. it's a slow start to the match. The booth are really behind Brian here. They're really putting him over, talking about his football career, and how he played with the Cincinnati Bengals and all that stuff. And he won an award for his bravery and stuff like that. And how he when he played American football, he was a walk on. He didn't have a scholarship like a lot of these athletes get. He became captain of the team. A lot of stuff to go on. JR loves his football, doesn't he? So he was just going to carry on unless Tony cut him off. There's a really sweet enziguri, not something you would see in 1991 from Flying Brian. Although JR does reference that Inoki does it in Japan, so I might have to check that out. It's not a high-flying match. It's not something you like. Flying Brian would later go on and have some really good matches with Jushin Liger and stuff, and they would be flying all over the place. This is not that sort of flying match that you would see in 1996 for cruiserweight titles.
He had a really good match with him as the first match on Nitro. I believe the first ever match on Nitro was Flying Brian versus Jushin Liger.
And this match it just doesn't get going. Like I'm gonna stick with what I thought is that Morton can't fly around anymore, and Brian gets the win with a flying crossbody from the top rope. It wasn't very good. It gets the title. So we can skip over that because I know you didn't have it.
I didn't have it, but then they mention it right at the end of the pay-per-view. And they say, congratulations to Flying Brian Pillman for winning the fucking... It's like, look, if you're going to put it on the video, at least... If you... Fuck you, Ted Turner. Jeez.
Next up, it's the Z-Man against our Halloween Phantom that's been so secretive and no one could find out who it is. We don't find out who the Phantom is until later on in the show, which is even weirder.
But if you look at him, you can bloody see who it is.
You can tell the Phantom's aggressive early. He gets this big neck breaker for the win.
This is a squash.
It's a squash.
It's a squash, man. And the fact is, it's not just any neck breaker, is it?
No, Tony Schiavone says it looks a lot like the Rude Awakening, and I agree with him. It does look a lot like that. It's very, very close, if not dead on. We get another Starcade promo. Did you get this?
No.
No, another Starcade Lethal Lottery Butter Bowl promo where it's a lot to take in. And we move on to our tag team title match. Did you have this one? Hopefully you did.
Yeah, dude. You've got the US champs versus the world champs.
Yeah, you've got the Patriots, Todd Champion and Firebreaker Chip.
Or Action Man and Fireman Sam, as I like to call them.
Against the Enforcers, Larry Zbyszko and Arn Anderson. We spoke about them earlier. This is a good team. I like Arn and Larry. I think Larry was sort of winding down, though. He was coming towards the end.
Great heels.
Arn still had, a few good years in him. And I like this because when Arn tags in, there's big cheers. They're not the babyface team, but Arn tags in. Everyone respects Arn. Everyone loves him. Holy shit, Todd Champion is huge.
Yeah. Or he's Action Man.
He's Action Man. He's massive.
He's Action Man.
Why did we not see more of him?
If you look at his pants and his old attire, it's based on Action Man, International Heroes or whatever, right? Because if you look on his trousers, he's got like USA down one side, and then he's got the 3 stars, and it's Action Man, dude. They've modelled him on Action Man.
He's absolutely huge. This guy. It's like he's 6'5" or something, and he towers over everyone in this match. And he makes Chip look little. And this is where the match sort of like messes up for me, and I think they've got it wrong because later on in the match, the sort of heat that the heel team they get it on Champion when they should be beating up Chip. Chip's little.
He comes in with a hot tag. Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
But maybe Champion couldn't work, bro. Maybe Chip was the better worker.
Well, maybe Champion was a better worker. Maybe he was better at selling because I don't know. Chip just Firebreaker Chip. What a name!
Well, do you think Chip was a bit of a Malenko when it comes to selling?
Hey, you leave him out of it. top guy, Dean Malenko. The Enforcers are using proper old school tag team tactics.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so good. And I loved it. I remember I was looking at it, watching it. I had a big smile on my face. I was watching it. I was like, yeah, this is what I've enjoyed over the years. Like real heel sort of tactics. Like they everything.
There was one great bit when Arn Anderson is getting lifted up for an atomic drop, and just as he's lifted up in the air, he puts his hand behind him and gets tagged, and then as he gets dropped for the atomic drop, Zabis goes in and just starts laying into it. It's fucking great stuff. Heel tactics 101.
Heel 101, yeah, for any tag teams, yeah. Like
It's good.
Just don't see it anymore. Yeah, I've got here that Todd shouldn't be taking the beating. It should be Chip. And there is a hot tag to Chip. It fizzles. The hot tag does not sizzle. It fizzles. And Arn hits a spine buster on Chip, and we have a winner. And that's it. Like again, it's not great. Like there are little bits of good work and stuff from the teams, but I don't know. It didn't get put together well.
Jim Ross mentions the Impel trading cards during this match as well.
Trading cards
that we have just opened.
Yeah, 29-year-old cards.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a good. Yeah, I just don't know. That just didn't work for me, that match. You saw it and you just realised they'd got it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one as well, dude, because you've got the way they mention what's going on as well, when it's like, and the winners and still world heavyweight champions. It's like, well, wouldn't they? What was that? The only belt on the line? What belt was on the line?
I guess it was just the World Tag Team Championships.
So not because the Patriots come down to the ring and they're US champions. They've got a couple of straps. Zabisco and Arn have got the heavyweight championship. So it wasn't. It was. Would it been a unification match or whatever? Would they have had both belts? I always found it weird that you had US championships, tag champions, and heavyweight champions.
Yeah, it didn't work for me.
No.
Eric Bischoff is on the walkway with Paulie Dangerously.
This is a great promo. This is something that I fondly remember in this pay-per-view is this moment, because you've also got Medusa, who is Alundra Blaze, who would go and then come back and then go and
drop a title in the bin.
Yeah.
Eric just reminds me of the Count from Sesame Street here. I just can't get away from it. Paulie is mad that the committee have booted him from his show. He was hosting a WCW show, and he's mad that they've kicked him off of it. He was co-hosting something, but he reminds everyone that he's got a manager's license.
Yeah.
And this, I'm guessing, would be the birth of the Dangerous Alliance.
Yep.
In its way, because he tells us all he's got the Phantom.
Yep.
And Paulie says he wants to destroy Sting, and this guy really wants to destroy Sting, and it's unmasking time. And just for anyone that can see, here he comes.
Yeah,
it's the Ravishing one.
The man.
We all could tell from the beginning it was him, but we didn't want to spoil it. And you notice, like you hear it, like you hear a wow from JR and Tony, like they got to big this up, obviously, but they know that Ravishing Rick Rude, who on our last episode main evented SummerSlam. We talked about this. You can check it out on YouTube, on all the podcast sort of carriers that we talked about. Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, dude, on YouTube here, last episode 7, SummerSlam 1990 WWF.
Main evented by Rick Rude.
He main evented with the Ultimate Warrior and gave the Warrior one of his best matches.
these guys know that they've got a massive coup here. Then they mention it. It's a big coup for WCW to have Ravishing Rick Rude on their show. And Rick Rude cuts a killer promo. You know, we all knew he was going to do it. He says, you know, all he cares about is himself, his women, and his money. And he's going to help Paulie tear WCW apart brick by brick.
And start off
yeah,
with Sting. He
with
calls
that
him that
low-life
low-life
scumbag.
scumbag. Yeah.
Sting. He's going to start with Sting, and he wants to take the US title, and you get Crazy Eyes right at the end. Like right at the end of the promo, he stares right down the camera, and you see some Crazy Eyes. And to be honest, they don't look like cocaine Crazy Eyes.
No, I like I say, we both love Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Great promo. He looked fantastic in this. You know, he was still wearing the Ravishing Rick Rude pants as well. When he was the Phantom, obviously he just had black trousers on a black top. When he came out, he was wrapped up in his thing, and when they unmasked him, he just took it off and he had the Ravishing pants on. But the thing is, you know, I would have liked him to say, why don't all you, you know, fat, lazy Chattanooga sweat hogs, just, you know, I would love to see that, but it wasn't the time. He was going for Sting.
He said he'd battered people with painted faces before and stuff like that. He could have gone down that route, you know.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good promo.
It's funny because Sting and the Ultimate Warrior actually came into the business at the same time, together as the Dingo Warriors.
Blade Runners, I think.
Blade Runners, then the Dingo Warriors.
Yeah, fucking Dingo Warriors.
Yeah, dude. It's really weird that then Rick Rude, his last match is one of his last high-profile matches.
Last high-profile match in WWF, yeah.
Yeah, was against the Ultimate Warrior, and then he goes to face someone with exactly the same fucking face paint, pretty much.
We get that. We've mentioned this before. We get the Ron Simmons promo video back at Florida State.
It's a montage. Even Simmons has a montage.
Yeah, they retired his number at the university. You know, he's obviously a big star there, and yeah, we get that. I think it's a cool video of him training and running and doing all that. Like
it's your classic montage.
Like runs from that SummerSlam, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the All-American Ron Simmons with his man in the corner, Dusty Rhodes.
The American Dream.
That's right. Taking on our world champion, total package, Lex Luger with Harley Race and Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
He's the OG of bodyguards, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Hughes. He's been around, mate, as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I always thought Mr. Hughes was a killer bodyguard.
I swear he was even in FWA in the UK at one point.
I don't know about that. I don't remember seeing him.
Pretty sure.
But yeah, Mr. Hughes is ordered to the back. That was always part of the stipulations in this match, is that it would only be Harley at ringside and Dusty. JR touches upon how Ron Simmons and Luger were briefly teammates in the old USFL. It was meant to be the rival to the NFL until it merged or whatever. This is a side note. Luger at this point is despising wrestling. He cannot stand it.
Really, yeah.
He's really hating his job here.
He looks like he fucking phones this one in, bro, as well.
He was never really accepted as Ric Flair's replacement in 1991 when Flair, was stripped of the title and left WCW. Luger won that cage match against Wyndham at the Great American Bash, and fans shouted, "We want Flair" the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Luger became tired of it. He was champion, but he just didn't care for it. And by February or even March, he would be gone. He would turn up at WrestleMania 8, which is one of my favorite WrestleManias.
We'll do that one soon.
Yeah, but he's not wrestling. He would be one of the spokespeople for the WBF.
Yeah, dude, drinking his milk, getting his arms out.
yeah, it's just a little side bit on Luger, who, yeah, just clearly was out of love with it. And I mean, yeah, at points it looks like he phones it in, but then at points he looks like he's pretty charged for it.
I don't know, man. He looked like he was. All the hype was on Ron Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, the way they were hyping it, you were going to see a new champion this night.
Yeah, the way the match started as well. But Luger, yeah, he looked he looked like he was profusely sweating as well.
He looked
Um,
knackered.
he looked like he was knackered in this. They both looked really tired, but Luger more so. And I just I wasn't I wasn't impressed by Luger in this match. He just
Really?
couldn't be asked. He looked like he just could not be fucked.
Um, no, see, I think at times Luger put up a good, like he had
Only at the end.
some
Only at the
charge.
end,
Yeah.
I think.
There's some sweet tie-dye being sported here tonight.
By the American Dream.
Yeah, he's wearing the most incredible tie-dye shirt. Not
We
sure
get
why.
we get a few close-ups of Dusty Rhodes's sliced, scarred up forehead, which is why I would mention earlier that Dustin Rhodes is actually his son, and
Yeah.
they mention, well, even though his head's cut, his dad Dusty would say it's a long way from his heart. His head's a long way from his heart, so don't worry about it.
Um, got a quick reminder. This is a 2 out of 3 falls. JR's hyping it as just the first ever 2 out of 3 falls title match on WCW. I'm not sure if that's true.
Right.
Didn't bother to look. But the first fall is a squash.
Yeah, it's over in minutes.
Like it's a spine buster from Simmons. Really good spine buster. Always love Simmons' work like with that. And he gets a 3 count, and you're like, wow, he squashed him. Like, and Luger looks dishevelled at this point.
He sells the back hard after that as
He
well.
sells the back. The booth are trying to make you feel like this is Simmons' night as well, which, is good work from them. Simmons is all over Luger. He's, pounding away. And at this point, Race and Dusty start to finally get involved. And I think both of them are brilliant at ringside.
I mean,
doing it.
Harley Race is one of your all-time greats in the business anyway. And Dusty Rhodes, obviously the American Dream. He's Dusty Rhodes. You know what I mean? So to have those two in each corner, and they were the official corner men for the evening.
They were. Yeah.
So it was. They got involved in the match at this point.
Yeah, they get involved, but it leads to the shit second fall.
Yeah. Anticlimactic.
Ends in a DQ when Luger goes over the top rope, and we already spoke about this earlier on. There's no DQ when Johnny B. Bad goes over the top rope from a fucking hip toss,
yeah,
which is blatant. Whereas Luger flies into Simmons, and with Harley Race holding on to Simmons, Luger goes over his head.
Because they kept saying if both men would have gone out, then it wouldn't have been a DQ. But because one of them went out, it was like he threw him out.
Give me that shit. Yeah, that's.
It wasn't like a back body drop or anything like that. It was like a crossbody.
Shit, calling it ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah, like... it was like, don't piss on me head and tell me it's raining.
Yeah, it's weak, but they get back into their corners, for a mini break. Luger has a cut, like a little cut over his eye. I'm not even certain it's a blade.
No, it was hard way, I reckon. I reckon he just got caught on his eyelid or something.
And this is where Dusty is really good in the corner, talking to Simmons, because obviously it's, the camera's pointing right in his face.
He's like, "Don't worry, baby. This is the fourth quarter. This is the fourth quarter, baby."
It's a hell of a pep talk.
He's fucking great, mate.
And this is where the fans come alive. The fans are into this now. They've woken up. I mean, they've been dished out Van Hammer and fucking all that shit beforehand. He'd been hit with Kazmar and Oz, and
Yeah.
Van Hammer, a few of them had fallen asleep. And yeah, like the fans woke up and I think they thought that this was Simmons' night as well, because he gets a really close near fall
Yeah,
towards the end.
I would have liked to have seen it as well. I think
I
everyone
mean,
wanted to see it.
we're a year out, yeah, because Simmons would eventually win the world title from Vader, but this could have been Simmons' night. If Luger was leaving, you could have put it on Simmons. They eventually put it on Sting in the end at Super Brawl, but yeah, Simmons charges at Luger at a ring post. Luger moves out of the way, and that's sort of the catalyst for the end, because Luger hits his and look away John Cena. It's an attitude adjustment.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he hits
Yeah.
his attitude adjustment, which would be, but it's a
The
dog
pile
shit
driver.
pile driver as
The
well.
pile driver.
It's so horrible. He doesn't even. It is like the way when he goes down, it's just like he slides down one of his legs. You know, it doesn't. It's not very, and that's why I think it looks like Luger doesn't really give a shit about this match. He does. It doesn't look great. The match wasn't that great, really. No, it wasn't. Yeah, because outside, Ron Simmons goes for the American football tackle, hits his shoulder on the corner outside, and then they go in and he gives him the attitude adjustment.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I mean, I've got underneath. It was a good effort by both. I'm not knocking Luger in this. I think he because there were times where he perked up and put in a bit of an effort. And
I know, man. It just seemed like he weren't really that bothered. But that's just me.
um, yeah, it's almost the end of the show. We've got JR and Tony talking about the arrival of Rick Rude. They're bigging that up, as they should. They also congratulate Brian, Flying Brian,
Yeah.
for some reason on the VHS copy. Turner Home Entertainment and the editing team needed to be shot. And they tell us that they'll see us at Starcade. And we get the rolling credits, the executive producer, Jim Hurd,
Yep.
and our senior producer, Virgil Runnels, who
Yep.
booked Dusty. And
Yep.
I mean, I'd love to know who decided they were going to do the Chamber of Horrors. That had to be a team effort, surely.
I mean, who have you got in your team that agrees with that kind of stuff? You know, I mean, as a concept to have a cage match with 8 men anyway, it's always going to be a little bit mad. So they knew they had to have kind of the reefer eye referee camera, refer eye camera.
The helmet.
You know, so it was always going to be difficult to make that look good as well on the screen. And the fact that they had it first thing of the pay-per-view, like, couldn't they have put on fucking Van Hammer first, or Oz versus?
I mean, they were dark matches at best, weren't they?
They could have put them on first or whatnot. So it's a really weird one the way they've set the night out.
It was weird that they'd made changes to the show. Like, obviously, things change in every show, but only the night
subject
before,
to change.
only the night before they were talking about Cactus Jack and Kazmaier and Oz being in the Chamber of Horrors, Barry Windham being in the Chamber of Horrors, and all of a sudden Vader's in it with no fanfare, no build-up. Like, it's Vader.
It's Vader, man. It's Vader. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be world champion. Like, put a bit of effort into it, but we didn't get it. And I mean, this show is. I mean, it has its fun points, has some decent matches, but all in all, it's a bit of a. I mean, especially the VHS version is a bit of a letdown.
Dude, I got fucking screwed on that one, man, by Ted Turner Home Entertainment again. And it always I don't know. I don't know why either. I don't understand why you would edit these down to 110 minutes. Is it because for whatever reason they think that people don't want to watch the whole thing? What the fuck? Why? You've got these tapes from WWF early 90 ones. Some of them were like 3 hours long. This is 120 minutes of action, whatever. But The ones that we've done before was nearly 3 hours. You know, we've
Yeah.
done what? Why did Turner Home Entertainment do that? Why did First Independent do that? Was it because they wanted it to be the length of a movie or whatever? I don't understand. Like, you know, we want every single match on here. They and WCW were terrible for that in the early days. They would edit. I mean, we've done Beach Blast '93, which I missed out on matches. I would like to see Beach Blast '92 and see if we can do that one. Yeah, and see what they've cut out of that one, because, but like I say, this event here was one of the first 4 tapes that you were able in the UK to buy of WCW. So this was the start of the VHS WCW era. So, you know, it's where it all began.
And I mean, yeah, that's our lot. I mean, we're gonna start ending this, and we're gonna say thank you to everyone that watched our last 2 shows. You know, that has been incredible. You know, we never thought we'd get that many views on shows like that. We've got, you know, I think we've reached over 100 downloads on Podbean. Is that right?
Yeah, we've got. I mean, the podcast is the actual pod. The audio for the pod is still fairly behind the YouTube views, but that's fine. We're still trying to, you know, get the.
Early days for us.
It's early days for us. I mean, this is only episode 8, guys. So you know, it is early days. We've only been doing it a couple of months or whatnot. So, you know, but we will carry on. But we would really, really love it. Excuse me, I'm blooming yawning. Really hot day here in the UK. Like today, it's been like
30 plus, yeah.
Yeah, 30 plus degrees. So it's been really, really lovely day, really hot. But we will be doing some kind of subscriber giveaway. So I will happily donate a couple of packs of these in our whatever we give away, but obviously we don't want it to be too heavy, because if we get an American winner, we're gonna have to send it to bloody Chattanooga or wherever. So you know, but please guys, if you watch this, please subscribe. Please do the subscription thingy down there or down there, whatever.
It's free to subscribe. Remember that.
Free to subscribe. It will cost you $0.
WCW fans, let us know what you thought of the show. You know, we do chat a lot with other people. We are on other forums. We like to find out what you like, what you didn't like about it. I mean, we do get the odd comment here and there, which is quite nice. And yeah, this who are we thanking this week? treeoflifeframing.com.
Yep, for the t-shirts.
For the incredible t-shirts. Tyrant Tales for the artwork.
Yep.
You know, really good stuff.
And once again, also on a sadder note, we would like to thank everybody who's coming out with anything with the hashtag speaking out as well. We mentioned it earlier in the beginning of the episode. You know, we're keeping our ears to the ground, and we're trying to keep out of it, really. You know, we're not going to mention individuals and things like that, but we are here and we support people that are hashtag speaking out. And we don't support the people who are poo-pooing it and trying to delegitimize the people that are speaking out. So, yeah. So, yeah, we were in Chattanooga. This was 1991, 27th of October, Halloween Havoc, Chamber of Horrors, WCW. Not a bad event, really. All right, enjoyable.
It's nostalgia at its finest, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course. You know, of course. You know, some real big stars. It was the early days before the resurgence and the big real boom of wrestling. It was starting to pick up, weren't it?
Yeah, it was just before WCW had a real sort of break and really pushed on and had some bigger stars hitting their shows. You know, Jake the Snake would be there in '92. you know, Ricky Steamboat would have a resurgence as well, and you know, and then '93 you'd have the return of Ric Flair. So WCW was bouncing back.
That's right.
And I guess that'll be it from us. We'll
Yeah.
say thank you to anyone that's stayed up or hasn't fallen asleep yet, and continue to watch, continue to like. If you haven't subscribed, why not? You know, we're doing our best to keep these shows going. We love doing them.
And to be honest, like, you know, for a couple of guys, and you know, we've got other bits and bobs going on. We've got families and all that. It is a fair bit of work putting these out as well, you know, because we watch the pay-per-view, we make notes, you know, then we put this together and then have to export the video and then upload it and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, we're not complaining, obviously, because we bloody love it and we're gonna keep doing it, you know. But yeah, you know, we really would love it. And as soon as we hit those 1,000 subscribers, guys, as soon as we get up to that 1,000 subscriber mark, we will be doing a competition. So please, 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 if you subscribe, you will be in that competition.
Remember, we're on Twitter as well at Chat Grapple Pops. You know, get at us. You know, if you like something, if you didn't like something, or if you've got any ideas on what we should watch next. We do have something. We have a plan for what we're watching next. But if there's anything you want us to talk about next, like in the next couple of weeks, just at us. We're here. You know, we answer everything.
Oh, are we possibly going to watch that thing that I showed you the other day?
That thing you showed me the other day.
That sounds a bit ominous, but
Yeah.
that VHS that I was showing you the other day, and we said that we might watch that one.
Oh, that's a good question. I thought we'd already figured out what we're watching next, but
okay, we shall
gonna
talk
have
later.
We'll talk about this. Yeah,
we'll talk about this. All right, cool. Sweet, mate. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think yeah, it's fine. I've had too much blueberry juice, and it's too hot. So
is blueberry juice like a code word for beer?
no, man, it's actual ocean spray. Oh, sorry, we shan't advertising. It's your generic blueberry juice. So
Blueberry juice in a red cup from a big superstore.
yeah, from a well-known superstore. Yeah, so yeah, man, I loved it again, George. Thanks, bro. It's been awesome, mate.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone, for joining
Cool,
us, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, take care, man. Peace.